And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hi, today we're going to be reviewing Kill the Overlord.
Kill the Overlord is a game in which, well, you're trying to kill the Overlord. Basically, one person's the Overlord, trying to execute everyone else in their kingdom, and you are also trying to be the Overlord and I don't know. Let me explain it, and then you'll see. At the beginning of the game, each player is given a role. One person has to be the Overlord. The rest of them are given out depending on how many players are in the game. And each of these roles has a male side or a female side, so you can decide which kind of advisor, which kind of general you want to be. There is a number there in the red that basically shows the rank of your character. And then this number here shows how much gold you would get at the beginning of each round, and then a special ability that you might have. Now, the goal of this game is to be the Overlord and to have 30 gold. At that point, you will win the game, or to kill everybody else when you're the Overlord. There's lots of gold pieces here that you will get as the game progresses. So, the way a round begins is the Overlord is going to give this execution order to somebody else. Actually, according to the phraseology of the game, he is going to have another player take it from him. And there's a reason for that, because some cards affect giving or taking. So let's say the Overlord passes it to the advisor. The advisor now has the execution order. The advisor now is going to die, unless the advisor can play a card. And you will have a handful of cards that you will be playing. So the advisor might play this one, make an example, where they give the execution order to a player with a lower rank than you. And if she happened to be the lowest rank, which she's not, she can give it to anybody she wants. So she gives it to the knight. The knight says, alright, well, I'm going to play Revolt. And I can give this execution order to a player one rank higher or lower than you. And so then that person he gives it to sidesteps and gives it to a person one or two seats to the right. And then they draw a card, and this one gives it to the person one seat to the right or left. And this is going to keep happening till somebody can no longer pass this execution order off. At that point, the person who has it, let's say the advisor has it, is dead. We put their character in the middle of the table, and the person who had them takes this token to show that they're dead. The execution order is given back to the Overlord, and the Overlord hands it out again. And players play cards again. Now, not every card passes the execution order around. This one here is Revenge. You can play it when you have no more cards left. You're executed, but the person who gave it to you is also executed. Or an Uprising card, where if you give the execution order to someone else, and if someone else plays a card with a book on it, that person dies. Or a Martyrdom, you die, but you get 7 gold. You can also plead guilty, take the execution order from whoever has it, put it in front of you, and you get to draw a card. Hopefully you can pass it off. And then you can always play these retaliate cards to cancel other people's orders. So this is going to go around. And you can pass the execution order off to the Overlord. It doesn't matter. And eventually the Overlord is going to die. If he doesn't, if everyone else but the Overlord dies, he wins the game. Otherwise, if the Overlord does die, then players are going to take their characters back. But they take them back. Each active player, the highest active player in the game, whoever he might be, takes the Overlord card. So they're the new Overlord. Then the second highest active player takes the next highest card. Once all those players taking cards, then players take the rest of the characters based on how low their order of death was. So the first guy takes the next highest. And so everyone has a new, not everybody, but most people have a new roll, and then they start over again. And at the beginning of a new round, players will take the gold of the one they have. So if you're Overlord, you get 6. And you're always checking to see if you have 30 and you're the Overlord, in which case you'll win the game. Now, each of these characters has special abilities. Let's examine a few of these special abilities so we can see. For example, the Squire here, he has an extra hand. His maximum hand size is by 2, and he draws a card at the start of each execution, including the first. So during the course of a round, he'll be drawing more and more cards. Everyone only draws 2 at the beginning, but the Squire gets more cards. That's to make up for the fact that he gets very low gold. The Peasant here can give a gold to player one seat to the right or left in order to give the execution order. So you don't have to use a card to pass it off. You can use gold. The servant has to give a gold to the Overlord during each income phase, but if someone gives them the execution order, they get to draw a card. So you can see the lower you are, the cooler your abilities are. Why maybe the captain here, when you give a player the execution order, that player immediately discards a plot card. So you can make them get rid of cards from their deck. Now, if this bores you for some reason, there is another whole set of cards that you can replace. Instead of having an Overlord, you have a Tyrant, and a Rapscallion, and a Soothsayer, and a Tax Collector, and a Bureaucrat, and a Merchant, and an Actor, and an Outlaw. Or you can substitute some of these in for their matching numbers here, and you can mix and match. Anyway, that's how you play the game. And if either an Overlord kills everybody else, or the Tyrant, in which case they win, or the person who's the Overlord gets 30 gold. Kill the Overlord is a pretty fast-paced game that takes about 30 minutes to play. Let's start with Melody. Melody, what do you think of the game?
I like this game. I also liked how you could pick a character and it could be a boy or a girl. I also liked how you had to try to get the money. I never won because it was really hard for me to get money. And also I barely ever got the order, so I barely ever got to play the thing unless I played the plead guilty card. But still, it was a lot of fun to play.
Now, if you've not played a game before, then this is going to be completely new. But if you play lots of other games, this game is a mixture of Hex Encounter or Hot Potato, where you're passing around the execution order, mixed with a very popular game, Citadels, in a sense, where each person has a special ability. So think Hot Potato, passing something around, mixed with some cool ability that you might have. The game is going to feature a huge amount of luck, in a sense, because you can pass the cards around, it will come to you and you don't have the card, what do you do? It also has a pile of take that, where you say, you get the execution order, ha ha ha. And everybody can gang up on one person if they want to. You should gang up on the Overlord, although the cards do restrict what you do. Now, the special abilities on the cards are interesting, although it can be a bit to keep track of them, so you just have to trust that each person keeps track of their own special ability and utilizes it to great effect. I found the game a pleasant diversion. I wouldn't want to play it all the time, but Melody and the kids that I tried it out with seemed to enjoy it more. There could be hurt feelings, I suppose, if you're like bam bam, but like I said, the cards restrict it, and sometimes you have to hit someone else, and besides, as the game each round progresses, there's more and more people dead, so eventually you have to hit somebody. Yeah. So what was your final opinion?
I like this game.
Alright, I think it's a decent game. Kill the Overlord.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.
Shut the door!
Yeah.